Okay, folks, welcome to my garage that's kind of under construction. Hey, Angel, how are you doing? Happy Friday. Now it's Happy Friday, not before. So, I'm going to shoot the second video that I've done in the garage with the setup here, with the airbrush. The last one I did was in the daytime, so the lighting's a little bit different. The lighting is actually really good in here, even though you can't really tell on this camera. I'm trying to, let's see, maybe I can move this around a little bit to maybe, let's see, let's hold something up and see if you guys can see this. Now, the glare is bad. We're just going to have to, I think the light might be better over here. Yeah, I think the light's better over here. Okay, so anyhow, I want to do some airbrushing, and I don't want to do it alone. It's just freaking boring. So let's get some stuff done. And I haven't done this in a while online. I am by no means an expert, but I have found several things out the hard way, which also means it took longer than it should. Yeah, we still got some stuff out here in the garage. This garage is huge, and it's got great lighting and everything. And right behind me, there's actually a big window that would provide natural light. So if this ends up being kind of not great, well, next time we'll make sure we'll do it in the daytime. But I wanted to get some airbrushing and figure bring you guys along with me. So what exactly am I airbrushing? Well, I got several things I wanted to do, and while I'm doing those, I might as well airbrush some other stuff. Because once you fire this thing up, you might as well get a lot done. So let's take a look at what we have. Of course, everything's 1/72 scale. Why would we do anything else? And they're in different stages of things. So we've got a broom bar here by Eschi. Okay, it's just in plastic. We haven't done anything to it yet. That'll be airbrushed black. We have a Plastic Soldier Company SU-76. 1, 2, 3 of these. We can airbrush those black. Okay. We have a Hummel, a very old kit by Eschi that is already black. So we're going to put a base coat of Dunkelgelb on it. Okay, so this is a black pile. This is Dunkelgelb. All right. We got some cool stuff. We got some stuff that you guys might like. Let's lose the jewelry. We've got from Plastic Soldier Company as well the Panzer III set, which you can make the M's and N's. So I got 2 M's, and here's the other one, and then one of my least favorite tanks, an N. It's got the short 75 barrel. Okay, so these will need to be black coated first, and then dry, and then Dunkelgelb over them. All right. And what else we got? We got a Vespa. Got a Hummel, so we got a Vespa as well. This thing will be black. A lot of things that need to be base coated black. This is what people get excited about. My 2 Panther Ds from Zvezda. I have 2 of these. These are the Panthers that were at Kursk. And they will need the base coat on them. The black base coat. What else do we have? We have this thing is heavy. A Stug 3G that I'm probably going to add some other highlights to it. This thing's already been, kind of has a base coat on it. And last but not least, Hetzer's got a Hetz. So this is the Eschi Hetzer. It also needs base black. So we're going to do a black base coat, first of all. And then while some of that is drying, we'll go and do the yellow. Now, why am I airbrushing the yellow? Well, the reason I'm airbrushing the yellow, and I'm gonna leave it something like this, because I'm still gonna end up doing a brown wash on top of it, is because the yellow that I have from AK paint's really good, but it's very watery. So if I try using the method that I use everything with, it's going to take a lot of coats to coat this. So we're just putting the base coat in Dunkelgelb, okay? And then we've got these little items for the T26 that need to be sealed, okay? So yeah, let's start off in sealing these guys, and we'll work our way around from there. And we got some paints here, all AK paints. So, all right. Take a swig of my Coke habit. And we got the black that we're going to be using is Vallejo primer. We're not going to thin it at all. And what we're going to use for the sealant is also Vallejo Premium Airbrush Color Polyurethane. So that's what we're going to do first. First, before we do any of that, we have to reassemble our airbrush, and hopefully I did a good job cleaning it. And I meant to bring the hand sanitizer out of here, and I didn't. So let's see, we're going to put this back in. I always like taking the parts out. And this is the bad part. I can't see through that light now because normally I would just look outside and see if it's visible through it. And we're going to put this. I don't like leaving the airbrush assembled. I like to let all the parts dry. And sometimes you've got to do a little bit of finagling to get everything to where you start working again. But it should be minor. Now this is a Iwata airbrush that's available at Hobby Lobby. It is the HP something or another. HP CS that I've been very happy with. And I had a lot of problems with it trying to get this primer and sealant to work because the needle it comes with is a 0.35 and it won't push all that stuff out. And this stuff is not really meant to be thinned. This is a weird material. It is not, it behaves really weird when you thin it. So you want to use this stuff straight. And the only way to do that is to get a bigger needle. At least that's the only way I found to be able to do it. I had a lot of fighting with it. So hopefully we won't have much fighting. We're going to put this back. And I do have an airbrush. I do have an air compressor with a tank. So you are unfortunately going to hear it from time to time. And I've been pretty successful running this about almost 50 PSI with some of this thicker stuff. So we're going to crank this thing up. And it's not super loud here, but with this great microphone, I'm sure it's going to pick everything out. But thanks for joining me on Friday night. Maybe you'll see something of usefulness. Maybe I'll show you how not to do things. This is not my area of expertise, so. But it is going a lot better than it was a year ago. The needle was the secret. Into the 40s. All right, we got this Jesus juice. I need to put a link on what it is. It's some guy on YouTube decided to make his homemade cleaner, and he called it Jesus juice. His words, not mine. Looks like it's working okay. Now I am going to tighten this up a little bit. Normally I don't have to do that, but we did get a little bit of drippage. If I don't show you something and you want to see it, please let me know. Hey, can you pull that up to the camera? I'm doing the best I can. You know me, I don't want to hide shit from you, you know? So, okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to seal these T26 parts. And by doing that, we're going to do that by ooh, I hope that doesn't fly off. These alligator clips are super duper handy. Super handy. Again, available at Hobby Lobby. And if we do this in the correct order, we shouldn't have to wait for anything to dry. I got enough things that are based in black that certainly by the time I'm done, we'll be able to do Dunkelgelb with them. This stuff dries, it's not the fastest, but we're gonna go really thin. It's really, the primer is just, I just use it kind of a way to get the next color to stick onto it. Okay, so we're going to, almost the rest of this. This is what it used to look like. And then they changed their advertising, of course. So this is what it looks like now. This is what it looks like for now. I'm sure in a couple of years we'll probably change it again. We're not selling enough of these. We got to throw, marketing says we got to, change what they look like. We're running 50 PSI right now. It's probably a little too high, but we don't want no problems. All right, drop some of this stuff in there. And let's start off with, it's just in the top. And it's just very, very light. And then we can either use one of these things that you can also buy. We can put these little pieces on there. Or grab a piece of styrofoam and just put it in there. Okay? It's actually a lot more secure than the styrofoam. So we'll use that. All right, the turret. The flame-throwing turret for the OT-130. So I did a lot of reading about what airbrush to get, and I wanted to make sure that if something went sideways, if it didn't do what I wanted it to do, it'd be easy to return. So I bought my airbrush locally, but I bought the air compressor on Amazon because I read a couple of articles and it just seemed like, as long as it has a tank, there's no reason to overbuy something really expensive. And I'm like, all right, well, we'll try it with the cheap one. I ran about $130, something like that. It came with an airbrush. It came with an airbrush that, I didn't want to fight with. I may at some point in the future actually use it because now that I have kind of a clue to airbrushing, but there's a couple of no-nos that I wouldn't even fool with doing, and that's, you don't want to use an airbrush that's suction. You want to use one that's gravity fed. This actually doesn't even have a cup that can fall off. So that's one less problem that you've got. It's all one piece. But when you've got a suction, you got to get the suction right, and the paint has to be the right thickness. You got another layer of problems to deal with. So, okay, we're done. So we got a little bit. I put too much of this sealer on here. So I'm going to go through these pieces, give them a second coat. I don't want to throw this stuff away. And this is clear flat polyurethane. I believe it's polyurethane. So it has zero smell. It's a very tiny amount. So if you're freaking out about me not using a mask, there's nothing going on here. This is a lot less toxic than what I did for years. What didn't make it right? Well, sorry. I'm not spraying with a mask. If it was toxic, yeah, it'd be something different. But I'm spraying away from me. This room is huge. It's not even enamel or anything. I used to spray the enamel spray can in a much smaller room than this. and I'm still okay. So, all right. Now we still have some left. We overdid it. So, one of the things they want you to buy at a store, and I'm all for saving money when you can. It's stupid to spend money on things. They have these little things that you can spray out the extra stuff when you put thinner. Yeah, they cost like 30 bucks, and you're basically trashing them. They look like crap. So just get a water bottle. So you just get your water bottle here that's basically free. And I'm just going to spray the rest of this in here. And you'll hear it go empty. Hopefully. And how much was in there? I really was wasteful. There we go. That's the sound of emptiness. So we'll put some of the Jesus juice in here. And this is the 0.5 needle. You try doing this with the 3.5, it won't work. Usually running one through here is enough. Always cover this. You will have a mess of unusual size. And we're just going to wipe this thing clean. And we're going to use the same nozzle, the 0.5, same needle for the primer. The primer's pretty darn thick compared to this stuff, which you can use through the 0.35 and not even thin it. Yeah, this stuff's really thick compared to that. Okay. All right. Black. All right, we need to preset some of these things up. I'm going to go ahead and, because these things are a lot bigger and take up more space, I'm actually going to see, is there a piece of styrofoam just sitting down here? There might be. Because the stuff I'm going to be spraying is relatively large, much larger than this stuff. Well, we're going to take these, and these will be dry in no time. I'm going to move them here to this little device, and in a few minutes, I'll even be able to unclip the alligator clip from it. Okay, so we're going to move these to the side. Yeah, this is kind of, it works fine, but it's kind of flimsy. This is less flimsy. All right, what are we going to start with first? Let's, we're going to do black. So let's get in the mood with an SU-76. All right, so let's clip this thing. I'm just going to clip it like that. And you can make a mess airbrushing, but with this setup, I've been pretty fortunate that it's pretty error-free. I'm going to clip all these things because I don't like the primer to sit inside of the airbrush for too long because it starts to congeal. When the primer starts drying, it kind of behaves the way, well, Angel will know what this is. It's like a café con leche. You get the, and for the rest of you, French onion soup, where you got that skim coat. It's kind of like that. You get like this natilla thing that starts drying. And you don't want that to happen. And you got other issues, and you know, things just, there's no reason in something being more trouble than it needs to be. So, where is a good spot to grab this joker? We'll put it off the return rollers. Put the return rollers on this thing. Okay. And Hetzer's got a Hetz. Hetzer's got a Hetz. This is actually a really crappy model. This thing was, oh look at that, we can get underneath there with one of the return rollers that's hidden. It was really, really flimsy. For something, it looks pretty solid, like a turtle. A flimsy turtle. All right, what else we got? We got a Vespa. Let's put that there. And we'll do the Panzer IIIs together. Are the Panthers all one piece? Pretty much. See, is there somewhere solid we could grab these guys from? You know, you can also hold on to it and spray there, but, you know, you're just creating a mess. Let's make sure this is not a flimsy piece of track. I'm afraid that's going to break. Let's see. We'll punt on that. Okay. We'll do this stuff first. And, yeah, the Panzer IIIs, I actually didn't glue them together. Because when I go to paint the tracks, it's going to make life a lot easier. You know, and I can glue this stuff later. So this is, each one of them is 3 pieces. We've got a turret portion, the top hull, which is, this is the most solid shirts that I've ever seen in my entire life. They're thick. Yeah, they're over scale thickness. But you know what? We don't have to worry about them. I didn't design the model. That's just how it came, you know. I'm going to go ahead and clip it to that part. And the last one. These tracks are pretty durable. Let's move this out of the way. They had some stuff I had to do with these to make them correct. I had to fill in the holes. There's side escape hatches. See if I can get this on here. There's normally side escape hatches on the Panzer III. It came with holes to put them on there, and this model Panzer III didn't have them. They had moved away from that. What happened is, instead of having the side escape like a lot of vehicles have on the bottom of the vehicle, they had them here in between the road wheels. And what would happen is you could never access it because of being really small, and also ammo was stored on the inside. So they eventually just deleted them. I want to say the L was the last model that had them. So we modified that. That's why they're a little bit of white putty there. I don't know if you can see that, but we did that. And then there was a funky thing that happened on the turret. It has this spaced out armor on the front of the turret. And on the mantlet, behind the mantlet, it had like a little notch on there. For some reason, I had to fill that in. So hopefully that turned out okay. It was kind of difficult to fill that thing in. But if not, we will fix it a little later. And same thing with this. I'm just going to clip on to the Scherzen. And the Ugly Duckling, also the Panzer IIIN with the short. I don't like this tank because, you know, it didn't come out until like really late 1942, really late. And by that time, the short 75 was kind of obsolete. There's just basically HE only. It had some AP rounds, but it just didn't have a whole lot of penetration. You know, the Panzer IVs were already carrying a longer barreled 75 millimeter gun, L43, and the L24 gun that was in all the previous Panzer IVs, the ones pre-war, and the A, the B, the C, the D, and the E, and the F1, all carried the shorter 75 millimeter gun. Which actually had less penetrating power than the short 50, the 50L42. Okay, so we got everything other than the Panthers clipped up. Let's go to town. How do we go to town? Well, we're going to drop this Vallejo primer. I want to make sure this stuff's mixed really well. And I want to I want a little place to put this on. I don't think there's going to be any drippage from the black, but I don't want no problems. So I'm going to take, this should be fine, just a big piece of MDF. I don't know where the hell I got it from, but I snagged it. And then I can sit on here instead of on this raisable desk thingy. All right. Here we go. So we're going to take this, and this is of course one of the biggest ways to make a mess with this stuff is when you open it. So cover it with a piece of paper towel, so if it does do a little splatter, it's on the paper towel, and this time didn't get any. We're just going to pour this in here. I'm gonna go about half full and dial this all the way down. And we're still running about 50 psi. I want to make sure we don't have any jam problems with this thick stuff. Let me just raise this because I need to get to this box that I use kind of as a tester. And let's see how we're doing. Oh, wow. Okay, just thin like that. All right. So who's our first culprit? Oh, well, Vespi's right here. So let's get the underneath part here. And I'm going to miss some spots, probably. That's fine. You can come in and fine tune it with a paintbrush when we bring it inside. Yeah, it's even at 50 psi, it's misbehaving a little bit. Let's do this. Let's open this up a little bit more. Let's see if that does the trick. Well, the other day it behaved just fine. Let's do this. Didn't do this to me last time. Let's soak some of this up. Let's block this. This used to happen all the time with a 0.35. I'm really not sure why it's happening now. The last time I airbrushed and it was being filmed, it went really, really well. I don't know if I've done 2 or 3 of these shows. All right, we're going to need to punt on this one. So let's get this little thing. That's the thing about airbrushing. You can't be like, okay, I got to get this done tonight with an airbrush, because you can encounter issues. Not a big deal. Yeah, we're still got enough pressure. I'm not really sure what's going on here. But this has happened many, many times. So we're going to take all this material out, clean this thing. Maybe even tear it apart. Just one of those things. Luckily, this garage is very cool. I'm not in a hurry. The other garage was really, really hot. Why aren't you running? Weird. Let's run this whole thing through, and then we will take it apart. Make sure everything is running okay. Put it back together, then I'm sure it'll probably run fine. That's why airbrushing will never replace hand painting, because you don't have to deal with this when you're hand painting. Works fine every time. Okay, I'm gonna go get my hand sanitizer. I'll be right back. All right. And I should have gotten a little wastebasket. I really probably could use that. We're going to use this. Wow, what the hell's in here? Ah, okay. That's going to be my wastebasket. Okay. Now let's get all these dirty paper towel thingies. Along with this one. All right, let's run another batch of this through here. That's why you want to make this stuff, because it's really wasteful to do this kind of stuff. All right, now we're not going to have to deal with a ton of paint. So let's get my my wrench. I had it here just a moment ago. Here it is. And let's take this thing apart. Pull the needle out of the front so we don't get any of that paint all the way inside. Take the nozzle out. There's basically nothing in there. I am going to run one of these through here. Make sure there's nothing in here. And I'd show you, but you're not going to be able to see it in this lighting. Okay. All right, that part's done. We'll close that. Okay, this little guy. I put some hand sanitizer on here. This stuff works really well with this primer too, because the primer is hard to get off your hands for some reason. With the hand sanitizer, it makes it a breeze. So I'm actually going to go ahead and we're going to squeeze a little bit in there. Okay. Let's set that off to the side. Let's see how we're looking on this nozzle. This normally isn't an issue. This isn't where the issue usually happens. But like I said, if you're on a time frame, like I got to get these guys airbrushed for a game tomorrow, you don't want to use an airbrush because you're going to spend a lot of time possibly dealing with a jam. Nothing permanent. You know, the only thing bad you could do is you could drop this needle and bend it. I fortunately have never done that before. I like to make different mistakes. And that's it. That's all the moving parts in there. We're going to assemble this thing back together. And hopefully that'll do it. I'm going to put the needle back in here. Push it all the way past the end. Okay. Put the nozzle on there. Or the tip. I don't know what the hell these pieces are called. And let's screw this thing back together. And then we're going to use only a tiny little bit of primer. So if we have a jam, we don't waste a whole bunch. Oh, there you go. And I am by no means, and probably never will be, an expert on this. I'm a hand paint guy. But you're probably going to encounter things, if you try this on your own, that you'll see me do, and then you can see how I'm dealing with it. But this shit's going to happen from time to time. You just got to realize what it is you got to do to get it going again. And this is a good airbrush. So one of the recommendations I said, if you're going to buy an airbrush, don't buy a $30 airbrush, okay? All you're doing is you're saving money and giving yourself headaches. So you don't need to buy a $300 airbrush either, but you know, this was I think 140 or something like that. Plenty good. Plenty good. It's made in Japan, you know. Japanese shit's good. Okay. One swig of my Coke habit. I airbrushed like 16 tanks or something like that the other day in black. No issues. So you just never know. All right, we're only going to put a little bit of this stuff in here. A wee bit. Get our testing box. Well, okay, it's not pushed all the way in. That's why it's so big. There we go. All right. Take two. Action. Let's close this up a little bit more. Now the inside is one of those sections that I'm almost certainly going to have to hand paint in there. And the good thing about this Vallejo primer is that it behaves a lot like a thinned down enamel paint. So it pretty much gets everywhere you want it to, except it's self-leveling. So you got to do something, you got to be really careless for it to really cake itself on here. It's very, very forgiving. And we're out. Okay. Well, we'll just do little bits like that, I guess. You can also hand paint this stuff. This stage that I'm doing, I could also have hand painted it. However, what ends up happening, let's actually tone this down 10 pounds. Let's go down to 40 and see what the hell happens with 40. Shouldn't run as much. Mr. Luff, hey, you changed your spelling. Now you got a big L. Happy Friday, man. Invariably, some of that was going to have to be hand painted to get in the creases in there. It's already clogged again. How weird. This didn't do any of this last time. Alright, let's open this bitch up a little bit. This is how it was behaving with the 0.35 needle. There we go. Maybe the problem was in the end. Okay, let's try that. I don't really need the end cap for anything. But that's how this is. You're like, man, this doesn't work. Let me try something different. Let me try something different. And you're like, okay, I got it to work every time. Let's keep doing that. And then something like tonight, you encounter issues, and you gotta think outside the box. Like I said, problems you don't encounter when you're painting by hand. And this guy's about done. Okay, so we'll put this little Vespa over here. All right, and we're out of this stuff. Yeah, so you find what works and try to reproduce that. Because it's finicky. Now, if you've got a siphon airbrush, you got a whole other level of moodiness that the airbrush is going to get in. You know, you could get all that working right, but then it's not sucking the paint up right. So just get a gravity-fed one. Stuff you're not sure about, make sure you buy it in a place where it's easy to return. Because stuff doesn't always work like you want it to. And I'd certainly hate to be out a ton of money for something that I'm not using. That's just not a good idea. Okay, we secure on this brum bar. Okay, Brumby, here we go. It's moody today. Just go thin, build it up as you go. Yeah, it takes longer, but this is not exactly an unpleasant activity. You've got the right tools. I was gonna get one of those spray booths, but I'm like, I don't think I need it. It's been $150 or something like that on one. It limits me. I'm gonna trash it in the process. I got a really nice spray setup here. If you're not wearing a mask, no, I got the vaccine. Like I said, when I use the tester spray stuff, man, it was toxic compared to this. And we may have to go in there with the paintbrush and touch up some spots, but by and large, this does a pretty good job of getting just about everywhere. And then what we'll do is, when we go around full circle, this should be a long session. I don't know how long we've been on here, almost an hour. It should be a long session. So when we get done, we're going to come back to these guys and put a Dunkelgelb coat, first coat on them. It won't be overall. It'll, we're still going to try to leave some of the black, and that's AK paint. We shouldn't have any jamming with that. And I'm not going to change needles. We're going to push it through the 0.5. I could change it to 0.35, but I don't think I need to. Not for the main coat. We do some squiggly camo. Yeah, I'll go down to 3.5. Okay, Brumby's done. Where is the styrofoam? Let's use the styrofoam. All right, who's next? Hetzer's got a Hetz. This model had some plastic. You think all plastic's the same, but I actually encountered some plastic that won't work with a weld cement. And I also encountered some plastic that melts too much with it, and this was one of them. Now this is an old kit, so this, I don't know when this one in particular was molded. I guess molded, injection. It's injection molded, so this one may have been in the 80s and sitting in a warehouse for a long time, but it behaved very melty. It melted a little too well with the with the weld cement. So I had to be careful with like small parts, or they would literally, they just disappear. Like you're using minerals. It's like if you're using mineral spirits with styrofoam or something like that. You gotta be really careful. But typical ESCI, this thing didn't go together really well. The fit and finish on it was lacking. Now what I plan on doing with the Hetzer is, we're going to do a late war paint scheme on it with the late war Dunkel go. That's what we're planning on doing with it. Because one of the problems that you have is, basically every German vehicle that was manufactured, you know, battle tanks, stuff like that, even Hetzers, tank destroyers, that was manufactured between about September 1943 until October 44 was covered in Zimmerit. So if you have something like well, I don't have one here right now. Okay, Brumbar, the Brumbar. Okay, I basically have to represent one that was at Kursk. Because if I do one in Italy, by the time you get to those zones, it's going to have Zimmerit on it. I don't really want to put Zimmerit on this. That is like a, I'd rather do something else than that. There were exceptions that probably didn't make it, but you know, not the case. What kind of airbrush compressor do I have? Well, the airbrush is an Iwata HPC from Hobby Lobby, and the compressor is, let's see if I can move it and not create a problem. If I have an issue here, it's your fault. Let's see if I can move this thing over without it being a, this is just a master's airbrush with a tank. And it had this little holder here for the airbrushes. I'm like, that's not very useful. Well, when it's on the ground, it's not very useful. But when it's up here on the table, it is. So it works well with here. So that's all I have. So I'm pretty happy with it. But it is not, doesn't always behave perfectly. Unlike painting by paintbrush, which there's no issue. It's all Rick's fault. It can't be Rick's fault. We haven't seen him in a week. I think he died at that LAN party, and we just don't know about it yet. We haven't found out about it. Just like when they said, oh yeah, Beetlejuice already, somebody was telling me, yeah, the star Beetlejuice. Yeah, it already exploded. We just haven't seen it yet. Well, how long is it going to take for us to see it? Oh, about 1,000 years. I said, okay. I choose not to worry about shit like that. Okay, that's going to require us getting some in there with a hand paint and stuff. Yeah, it came with an airbrush that I didn't even bother fooling with because I was learning. Now I'd probably fool with it. But even though the other day I airbrushed and had no issues, today, well, you missed it. You were busy doing something else. He's alive. His sister got a blue mohawk. He thought his sister got a blue mohawk in one of her pictures yesterday. Not just a mohawk, a blue mohawk. So, things I would never do. Well, get a mohawk. But anyways, you know how I talk about I'd never paint British World War II vehicles with with a white star on them. It just doesn't look right. I would never paint U.S. paratroopers in mohawks. It just looks stupid. Sorry, you know. If that scared the Germans, they're stupid, you know. I ain't doing that. The airbrush, it came to me, works really good. What kind of a needle is it? I had all kinds of problems until I bought the 0.5 needle. The 0.5 needle, I can't see what I'm doing. That's a bad idea with this stuff because it is extremely dark. Let's clean this tip on here. But I plan on using it. Maybe I can. I'm not sure what size needle it has. But my airbrush came with a 0.35 and it sprays AK just fine. But it does not like this stuff. It does not like the sealant. But it sprays AK just fine. So we're going to leave the 0.5 on here. We're going to try to do base coat with that as well. And if we need to do any squigglies with camouflage, which won't be today. I mean, we got to get the base color on and give it a wash. You guys say wash in Pennsylvania? Are you that flavor Yankee? Blue light make it seem like she had no help. I will know this if anyone. Well, thank you. Thank you for your confidence. Did the crews of the Hetzer wear the same uniform as the Panzer crews in 44? That is a damn good question. I don't know. I suspect they did. The open top crews, you know, obviously in book, you know. No, you're not that flavor of Yankee. Okay, I did the crew that I did for what vehicle was I doing? Oh, my armored cars. Okay, my armored cars that I wanted to do. I didn't know whether they had field gray or they had the black trousers. I suspect that in 1944 they probably had. I'd have to look into it, but they probably wore the Panzer uniform, cut like a Panzer uniform, but probably in field gray. That's going to be my guess. Obviously, by that time, they were doing all kinds of funny stuff like, you know, wearing Italian camouflage and shit like that. But I think textbook-wise, I'd have to look into it. I honestly don't know. Mine has the crew hatches closed, unfortunately, but that's just one of those things. But I did look for the armored cars. Here's another one. Luftwaffe Field Division units for late war, where they all have the same winter clothing uniforms in the winter 44-45. I really don't know. I've never done anything with I've done more SS stuff than I've done Luftwaffe. Well, I thought you never did SS stuff. I didn't finish a guy. I did start painting his camo. That's it. I've never even tried doing Luftwaffe Field Division. Why are you doing Luftwaffe Field Division? Luftwaffe. Gary's little children. I don't like the German paratrooper helmet. That's right, I said it. I think it looks silly. I don't know, but I can find all that information out. All right, we're out of Coke. What's next? I know there's beer in there. We're not doing that. That's a good way to fall asleep. You know what I will have? I gotta be careful drinking this. This stuff's actually really good. And this is the extra strength one. This is actually an adult beverage made in Finland, and it's called The Finish. The original one is like a light blue color, and it's a gin-based liquor, and it's almost like a citrus flavored thing. We're We're going to sip carefully on this. It smells wonderful. Okay. It's Friday, right? I don't have to work tomorrow. So, actually, you don't have to work any day. You just got to suffer the consequences. We're doing bottom holes. Let's just keep doing the bottom holes. You have a box of Luftwaffe Field Division figures in 35th and winter gear for Novgorod. And I was thinking of getting one of the TACOM 135th Hetzers to go with them. Did the Luftwaffe Field Division have Hetzers? I don't know. I don't even remember how many Hetzers they made. They made a fair number of them, but... Have you seen the Chieftain's video on the Hetzer? Walk around on it. I think it was the Chieftain. That's one of those vehicles, if you get infantry, get really close to it, you're going to have problems. It's not great on point defense. I really do like Plastic Soldier Company. Their stuff is just so robust. Now you wish my microphone wasn't so good it wouldn't pick out all that damn compressor sound. This is where we want to attach this from. Yeah, I think so. Oh, I got another bottom hole. What am I doing? Getting out of sequence here. I think that's the first alcoholic beverage I've had, well, in a week. That's right. I went down to St. Petersburg and had 3 beers that day. Not all at one time. I stopped drinking soda out. I mean, you charge me $4 for a soda and don't give me like 12 refills, I'm not interested. I'll just usually drink water and I'll have an adult beverage if the situation is right. As long as it's not a work day, I don't work night. I don't want to drink during the week because it makes me sleepy. And last thing I want to do is go to sleep earlier than I need to. And I've been really bad about going to sleep way too early this last week. I mean, there's a couple nights I didn't even go on because it was like, okay, it's 8:15 and I'm already falling asleep. This isn't going to go well. I don't want to get you guys all excited to get on there and then, you know, sorry, I got to leave. I've done that enough times. But I'm definitely a morning painter. So hopefully I can do enough of this tonight that tomorrow morning we can work on some of this stuff that we did some of the opening stages on. So good. And why doesn't this one have the Scherzen on it? Because this is the one for the N. And I may have seen one Panzer IIIN with the Scherzen on it. It's not very, and I mean on the whole. They always have it on turret. I'm actually going to go ahead and do this underside in case any of that shows. The ugly ducking of the Panzer IIIs, the Panzer IIIN. You may be up in the morning and chat with you, haven't slept well the last few evenings, and I'm dead ass tired. Almost fell asleep a little while ago. You know what though? When you fall asleep without wanting to, at least it's relaxing. At least it's not like stressful, you know. There's I've fallen asleep in a video game fighting a boss before. I'm like, whatever, I don't care. It's not really my life. But I'm a fan of things that don't cause you stress, certainly, when I'm not getting paid for it. I get enough stress at work. Well, looks like it's operating okay now. It wasn't earlier. Sometimes it just needs to be messed with. Okay, here's the other one. I like attaching it here better. Did you cook today, or did you let somebody else? No, I think you're the resident cook all the time. We had one of the kids that my daughter grew up with. He stayed over. He wanted to play video games, so he came over. This was like 4 or 5 years ago, and I was babysitting him at the time, or he was at the house, and my daughter was there, and my wife was gone, so he was going to stay the weekend. So we go to the grocery store, and I go, I don't cook, and his dad does cook, but I said, I don't cook, so just go through here and pick you out some TV dinners. And he's like, he didn't know what I was talking about. Because microwave meals, to me, I always call them TV dinners. He didn't know what a TV dinner was. And I told him, I said, that's what people that paint as their hobby eat. Did you cook today, or was it TV-ass dinner night? It was a TV-ass dinner night. Technically, only like those Swanson, those clips are a lifesaver. They are. They really are. I mean, you could just, they keep your fingers from looking all Nastafarian, Sometimes I feel like they're going to break. Like this one's kind of loose. You just gotta have a little bit of faith. Just a little bit of faith. Yeah, they really are pretty cool. I bought a second set the other day. I'm like, okay, we're getting our money's worth out of these things. This is the world's thickest shirt set. You don't have to worry about these things being like all clumsy and falling asleep, falling apart. Falling asleep, man. You're already contagious. You got me talking about sleep. It's the weekend. I don't want to sleep. But in all seriousness, I probably fell asleep on average this last week. I was already in bed by 9:30 most nights. I just couldn't take it anymore. Never eat TV dinners. The preservatives that don't bother me. Well, if you're not getting your daily dose of preservatives, how are you going to live forever? I'll take faulty logic for 1,000, please. They're really expensive now. They didn't used to be that way. They're really expensive. Like freaking $7 or something like that. But they can be. Gotta buy stuff when it's on sale, folks. Save where you can. feel like I'm missing a turret. 3, right? 1, 2, there it is. So here's something you'll probably appreciate because you're a modeler. These turrets for the Panzer III, let's see if I can get this close enough. I may not be able to pull this off. Had a notch in them. It's got the spacer armor on the front, but there was a notch. For some unknown reason, they decided to make it wrong. I don't know if I can get... No. Let's see. You could just make it out in white. There we go. You see that? I had to fill that in because there was basically like a notch in there that was just like an eyesore. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Ulf Woolman Slayer. Just remembered corn getting into the brownie. Okay. Top of the evening to you. Ulf Woman Slayer. Just the ugly ones or all of them? So I had to fill that thing in. That was like an eyesore. Once I saw that, I'm like, you can't unsee that. That and, well, you can't see it now because I did all the holes. These came with 2 holes in the side for the side escape hatch. The M's never had it. They deleted those. Ended up being, I think, a weak point in the armor. It's Puff the Magic Dragon. What's up, Justin? A little bit more of this stuff. This is like almost mess-free. It's Ben, by the way, just on my phone account. Ah, yes. Man, it's time for you to go to bed, man. Not gonna go a wild night in the UK? What's a wild night in the UK? It's like bars or... I don't like bars. I don't mind bars. I just don't like people at them. I don't like regulars. You must pay out the out-of-towner tax. You got to pay a VAT tax on this conversation. I've ordered stuff from the UK and always like, you know, this is what the cost is going to be, but you may have to pay more for taxes for import. I'm like, it's America. We don't do shit like that. Yeah. Give them a chance. Okay. Perfect. Ben, what kind of funky accent they got where you're at? Fell asleep too early, now you can't get back to sleep. Gonna start the weekend on a borked sleep schedule. Yeah. Take a siesta or something. I love taking siestas on a cruise because it takes every cruise day turns into 2. But I don't generally nap. But this week, I'm no worth a shit after 9 o'clock. I'm not even before then. SU-76. Like I said, like when I'm done with this, we'll be able to go full circle and do the base coat on some of these Nazi vehicles. They took down that post I was talking about a couple days ago, earlier in the week, where somebody had posted some kind of a post about, I think it was a history forum that was on one on Facebook, and the guy was like, wanted to know what color to use of uniforms for some German unit or whatever, and then he, in parentheses, put, even though I don't support their whatever, and it was like, I'm totally bastardizing the post, but it was basically the first post after that was like, I'm not in favor of having to apologize every time you say you're working on Germans or whatever. Well, all you got to do is just not work on only Germans. You know, mix it up a little bit. I mean, the German vehicles are cool, but, you know, they need other people to fight, you know. Just standard Northern British, I guess. One of the girls on the switchboard at work was telling my manager she found it really nice, though, so I have that going for me. She's on a switchboard, huh? She's like hidden in the back somewhere. Northern British. Is that like Sean Bean? I don't know. I'm an RP person all the way. I'm just not, we're not familiar with enough of those other accents that I can understand them. SU-76. Another good vehicle for a skirmish game. It's got no machine gun. You got a crash boom and that's it. That's all you got. You got a 76 L39. 76.2 L39. You have a movie recommendation for me, okay? Have I seen the movie April 9th? Is that the one that's in Norway? In the fjords? Is that the one that has or that's the King's Decision or something like that? April 9th, what is it? I'm going to stop guessing. I don't know. But your last recommendation was solid, so you got a good track record. You know what I like? We want to watch war movies to see stuff in action, you know? We want to see these toys move around and make boom sounds. I don't care about a love story. If it has a love story, that's fine, but I want to see things go boom. That's what we're there for. We're not there for life lessons. We're not there for, you know. We're not there to listen to hippie music in a World War II movie. Stop with the negative waves. How about stop with the shitty soundtrack? I feel like this thing had a nickname. SU-76s were called something by the Soviets. How do you say tin can in Russian? Yeah, they have 30 millimeters of armor equivalent or something like that. Well, in Command Decision, I think like they're a 3-2 armor, 3/2, right? That's the one about the German attacks on Denmark, and it covers a bicycle frontier platoon engaging the advancing Germans. Is really good at accurate combat. The only problem is it's in subtitles. That's not a problem. I put subtitles anyways. They even have your favorite armored cars. Really? And Panzer 1s and 2s? Oh, I'm there. I hope they have the right model Panzer 2. None of this 2F crap, okay? And yes, I can tell the difference. Good, I'll have to check it out. I don't know when the hell I have a chance to watch a movie, but April 9th. The Danes, they got those funky helmets. You got those funky helmets that the Danes have. They look like, you know, they got like last pick on the helmet category, you know, like, okay, and for our final helmet design pick, it's the Danes. What do you get? I guess I'll take the big, you know, they look like those helmets that they would use like on the Navy ships, you know, with the AA gun and cruise. Except they're wearing a really drab long coat jacket looking thing as well. They just look sad. Marcus! Better than most Hollywood stuff. Yep. Tin can in Russian is luxury. In Soviet Russia, tin can cans you. Or something. Ooh, we got some ammunition in there. I see it. Well, we're going to save the last thing. I know Noric's going to be really excited about the last thing I'm going to spray here. I got to figure out how to attach these damn alligator clips. I think it's about time to mess with these. I've had them built for a long time. Did I use them all? No. Well, we don't need the ones that come on the T26 parts. We're going to need 4. Okay, so we're going to take this. And where's the container that we're going to take these things back with? Well, we'll just set them off to the side. And these are the parts that can convert that T26 into different versions of itself. And we'll do the final 2. Actually, before that, we're going to be proactive. We're going to come back and touch up all the ones that I had to attach in a place that might be an issue. Like this one that's attached there, and we have a little bit of paint showing, I'll attach it somewhere else, and we'll get that little spot. Soviet Russia, tin can is head of party. I am dead tired and probably only going to get excited if Anna Kendrick walks through the door. She should do a movie with Tina Fey. I swear they look related. I don't know that I've seen anything with Anna Kendrick in it. She has kind of a peculiar face. I'm not saying that she's ugly. She just has a peculiar face. As you would say in Spanish, I don't know if Angel is still on here. A saying in Spanish that we like to have is, she has a face, una cara que no se usa, which means she has a face that's not used. I don't know, I didn't come up with a saying. Lacey Shaber. I didn't even mention that. That's not that chick that's in every freaking Hallmark movie, is it? I want to say I've looked that one up before. And no, I don't watch Hallmark movies. But I live with somebody who does. Oh yeah, that chick's in freaking every Hallmark movie. Really? Her? She looks like a cheap version oh man, the chick that's on Jennifer Love Hewitt. She looks like a knockoff, a cheap knockoff of Jennifer Love Hewitt. Yeah. Okay, well. You won't have that many people fighting for her. Yeah, she's not an attractor. She doesn't do anything for me. I guess she was in some other movie that wasn't a Hallmark movie. I don't know what it was. Was it Mean Girls or something? I didn't see it, so. Yeah, she's like in every freaking Hallmark movie. Jennifer Love Hewitt back in the day was all kinds of hot. Yeah. What would that have been? Late 90s? Lost in Space. Not the original one. No, you watch that remake? That's gotta be terrible. That's gotta be terrible. Remake movie. Yeah, in the 90s? Let's see. Who did I have a hots for in the 90s? Oh, what's her name? Who, my wife still thinks she looks good now. I don't think so. I don't think she's aged that well. God, what's her name? Tiffany Thiessen. Holy smokes. She was something else in the mid-90s with a short hair. But I'm not a groupie of famous people. You know, I don't ever see myself being one of those people like, hey, you want to go to MegaCon and meet artists? No. Why would I meet famous people? They got all kinds of habits I don't want to have any part of. You know, I'm not a groupie. They don't want to know about wargaming. I don't want to know about their personal life. Fuck 'em. I was a teenager in the late 90s. I had a huge crush on Sarah Michelle Gellar. That remake sucked, but it's shocking that she changed so much from how she looked in that movie. Yeah, she's, well, she hasn't been involved in any controversy. I guess she's still married to Freddie Prinze, right? How are we talking about movie stars, whatever? Typical. We talk about anything here. Things you should and things you shouldn't, probably. Okay, that's that. Did we get that spot? Yes, we did. I feel like I'm missing something, but I guess I'm not. All right, now for what you're going to get excited about. The Panther D's from Zvezda and this thing that unglued itself. Wait a second, but she's not blonde or Asian. Aha. Double dipping. Used to watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I can't say I've ever seen it. I saw the movie back in the theaters, of course, and didn't like it whenever it was out. One of those, hey, let's go watch this. I'm like, this is stupid. Who's that? That was Christy Swanson, I think. I don't, you know. Regardless of hair colors, you like the ones with the blue hair? You got that one girl that does all the D&D videos or something like that. She's got blue hair, and you get any kind of girl doing any kind of game video, and people just go, but you know, nerd burglars go crazy. You know, I grew up in a college town, so I'm immune to, you know, anything below an 8. Redhead on Buffy was something else to a little 10-year-old me. They didn't call him Stifler for nothing. You mean the girl from, isn't that the girl from How I Met Your Mother? Band Camp? This one time at band camp. She has an annoying voice. I don't like her voice. Nerd burglar alert. Neener, neener. She has an annoying voice. I don't like her voice. Oh, Alison Hannigan. Yep, exactly. That's exactly who it is. I don't like her voice. Sorry. Sorry about that. The same gal. What are you from the 1800s? Blue Mohawk. Yeah, they got that one girl, whatever her name is, that does gamer videos, role-playing game videos. I came across her or whatever, and she's got, I don't know if that's her real hair or a blue wig or whatever, but she's got a huge following. It's like, oh, it's a girl doing gaming things. Okay, you know. Okay, Panther D from Zvezda. Ever hear of a game called Traveler? I have. I never played it. Traveler 2300 is it? I'm just making that up. This is one of the Panthers that likes to spontaneously catch fire. Actually, it's not spontaneous. They go and like try to ignition, get a fuel leak and catches fire. Crispy Nazis. That's what you get for being a racist. Nordic asked me that basically every stream, so I had to strike first. On guard! Ha ha! Speaking of all kinds of hot, you gonna watch the season 4 of the? That's what I need to watch. I need to finish watching season 3 of The Boys. What am I gonna watch television at lunchtime? Well, I used to bring my lunch to work and go sit under a shade tree, and now I live relatively close to it. I just come home, so you know, I'm not gonna watch TV while I'm driving. You know, it's things you shouldn't do. You know. Luckily, I have ascended, and can I name more Japanese women? Japanese wrestlers? What do they wrestle in? Jello wrestling. Mud wrestling. Which is, what was it I told my wife? I said, every heterosexual dude likes that. There's no, I mean, there's just like, there's, you know, that is just like a foregone conclusion. I know Japanese women can wrestle. They don't wrestle the sumo things, do they? Probably gonna watch season 4, but it's bullshittery as season 3 and quit. The Joy of Wargaming was doing a series on live streams of a traveling campaign. The Joy of Wargaming sounds like it would go with, oh, the Joy of Wargaming. Many wrestling family guest starred on correct dibs on Saori Ano and Momo Kogo. Isn't Momo? We had a guy at this. Isn't Momo like Japanese for dee? Nordic knows, probably approves. Asian persuasion. I like Japanese vehicles. Does that count? I want to see that Godzilla -1, but I don't want to pay for it. And I'm willing to wait until my daughter gets in. That's one of those daddy-daughter type movies. Of course, I heard she got Home like at 2 o'clock in the morning from like a line dancing bar. Like, it didn't take after me. I don't do that country music stuff. That's over in Rick's part of the world. One of those square states. I also have dibs on unagi. Isn't that like a sushi roll? Sayaka. Or is it sayaka? I may or may not also add tam. What's that girl's name? Tam. Stardom. Tony would be lost watching Fukigen Death. Nordic's waifu harem gross. God, you guys are from a different planet. I don't know. Oh, man. As they say on Blazing Saddles, where the white women at? I tried watching that with my daughter, and it wasn't that funny. It just had a lot of like, I remembered it being funnier than it was. That's just one of those things. You go and rewatch stuff, and you're like, it's not as funny as you remember it being. Who was telling me about that redheaded off the... I think it was probably Nordic. That broadsword girl. I think it's a broadsword girl. She's pretty cute. For a gamer chick. But... I'd rather be with some girl that's not into games. There's a good chance that she's used proper hygiene. I go into that game store, buy paint, and I'm like, man, there's some strange cats in here. I don't want to bring that home with me. Is that what her name is? Yeah, I think you told me about her. Yeah, she looks like a normal person. Remember, I live in a college town, or used to, so, We out? I've seen Maki was actually watching some old Joshi, and man, what language are you speaking? I don't know what you're talking about. There's a page, if you do a Google image search on Panthers at Kursk, there's this page, and it's something like Mike's Wargaming page or whatever, and this dude did some serious homework on this subject. It's impressive. And his website, well, it's actually a blog, is really, really good. Let me see if I can pull this up. You got to see this. You got to go to this. You got to go to this page if you're into Kursk Panthers. So I'm going to do Panthers at Kursk. That's what it is. First thing that comes up, Mike's Research. So go on Mike's Research. This is my ad-free, non-profit blog of my research notes on military history since April 2018. And he talks about what unit is where and which ones use the, it's really, really good. It's none of the crap that's not understandable. It's freaking phenomenal. 33. That makes you a millennial, my friend. Unfortunately, if you're not exposed to wrestling as a youngling, you're not going to get it at your age. You become a fan. Mud wrestling count? No, I'm not. The thing about wrestling that I don't get is that it's staged. That doesn't mean that the people that wrestle are a bunch of pussies. No, they're like real athletes, but it's like it's already prearranged, There's Japanese wrestling that's not sumo. Yeah, well, they need to get the word out on that, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't know about that. I was trying to go to sleep last night, and I came across an article that they're real. I don't know what quantities, but there's a Japanese car company I'd never heard of. I think they probably just do like custom builds, and they're releasing due to popular demand, they're releasing a car that looks like a Dodge Challenger, but it's on the Honda Civic chassis. And it looks pretty freaking cool. But it's probably like some custom thing. Like, there's a company several years ago, I saw they were refurbishing those old Internationals. Remember those old vehicles that were made by International? They're almost like a Dodge Bronco or like a Jeep or something like that. And they're really neat, rugged-looking vehicles. But yeah, they're selling like $120,000. Like, yeah, that's not a normal vehicle. What is this? Let's see. Japanese car, Challenger Civic. Mitsuoka. I've never heard of Mitsuoka. Look at this thing. My wife doesn't think it looks very good. I think it looks incredible. I mean, I like the way the Challenger looks anyways, and you put it with a Japanese engine, and I'm like, yeah, look at that. That is a cool looking vehicle. Let's see if there's more pictures. Oh yeah, Rick's into cars. Let's see if we can find it. It almost looks like an old Celica. The front of it looks like that old Celica from the 70s. But it's probably one of those limited edition vehicles that thing looks pretty good, man. Retro done right. A what Bronco? International. I don't know what they're called, but International Jeep. We'll put International Jeep. See what we get. These things. Let me find one that looks good. Some of these look lame. A Scout. Okay, this is just one of the first ones I came across. They used to make those back in, I don't know, late 60s maybe? Cool looking vehicle. So there's a company that makes them aftermarket. And like over $100,000 for one. You do love modern cars with retro styling. I'm considering getting out of my comfort zone and build a modern tank, since one I've been eyeing for 4 months on sale for $35. Let me guess. It's a Merkava. I don't have a love for the Merkava, but that's fine. It's better than an Abrams. At least it's something different. You know what I hate about modern tanks? Too many tanks are painted in that 3-color NATO crap. Like, come on, man, pick a different paint scheme. Okay, I think we can probably clean this thing out and get the Dunkelgelb back out. And not get it back out and put it out, for one. Man, there's a lot in here, though. Oh, well, shit happens. I've never seen a Reliant Robin, but I'm about to look at one. A Reliant car should be a car that does not have a history of breaking down a lot. I have a feeling that it does. Reliant Robin, huh? Why aren't the best vehicles in the world made in Britain and the United States? I mean, you guys made the Spitfire. Was that just a fluke? Reliant Robin. Oh, this is a car that goes with a tune. Da, 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 da. Merkava Mark 1 to be precise. That would be like Beirut, right? Beirut was the first time it was used in the early 80s, 82 or whatever. I mean, that is pretty handy to be able to carry. What does it carry? A half squad? 6 guys or something like that? That's actually a pretty handy capability. You know? Infantry should be accompanying tanks. I mean, unless you're like in the middle of the freaking desert. Suzuki. Yeah, Japanese get into all kinds of kinky stuff, so I don't know, Japanese wrestling could be, something else. Throw that away. Put the black away. We don't need this. Japanese wrestling. I thought there was only sumo. Do they have sumo women? I'm taking Mina Shirakawa and her rice milkers. Oh, come on. What, if they're big, they're what? Size Bs? Okay. I shouldn't have to clean this whole damn thing out. But I will. I'm going to go ahead and take this apart, make sure we don't have any vestiges of this. Not because it's black, but because it's thick. And we don't want any issues with the Dunkelgelb. Let's pull this needle out and just make sure that we don't have we don't have all of this goodness in there. Large C's. All right. Of course, my favorite comment when people bring up things like that is butterface. Just a butterface. Oh, well. Japanese wrestling. How do you even know about that? That broadcast somewhere? Gotta be really niche. Only thing Japanese entertainment I was really into was that Battle of the Planets cartoon back in the 70s. I really liked that as a kid. Well, it helps that they showed it. I mean, if they don't show it, how can we be into something? But that was back when we lived in Alabama-stan. for 3 years. I haven't seen the original Japanese one, whatever the hell it's called. Ninja Science Team Gotcha Man or whatever. I really liked that as a kid. Okay. All right, so Dunkelgelb land. Let's close this all the way up. And let's drop this to about 30. I've never used AK paint with a 0.5. It might be too much. I might have to change needles and go back to 3.5. Stardom. All right. I'm in a break point here. Stardom. Stardom, Japanese wrestling images. Yeah, it doesn't do anything for me. This looks like something from Power Rangers. You'll be here a long time. I fuck you up. Okay. Paint. Dunkelgelb paint. Where is this? Where is the tray that I brought with all of my fixings that I got out of it? It's down here. Okay. The 3-color Dunkelgelb thing that got me from AK was as follows. Okay. They came with a base color that I use so much I can't even read what it is. They came with this base color, and it's very mustard yellow. And it came with a highlight, which is very light. And then it came with one that was called Dunkelgelb Shine, which should have been called Damn Near White. However, I bought another set that came with a Dunkelgelb 728 mid-war. It's kind of in between this color and the highlight. And I also got the really late war one, which is the 1944, which is almost like a tan, almost like a really light beige, and that's what we're going to do the Hetzer in as a base. So at the time, I did not have this mid-war Dunkelgelb. That would be Vietnamese women wrestlers. Said they remind him of Power Rangers. Yeah, the pose or whatever. I would have liked Power Rangers as a kid, man. I would have. There's aspects here. As a 7 or 8 year old, or My daughter watched one of them, and one of the girls was really cute. It was the dinosaur one. There was some New Zealand girl that was really cute. I don't remember who she is. Got a funky name. Had a funky New Zealand name. Okay. So this is the same Dunkelgelb. I'm going to go ahead and put this over it. Since it's the same color, and just see how it goes. I'm going to actually test the nozzle to make sure it's not too freaking big. What are we down pressure-wise? Let's run some of this out. Yeah, we need to go a little bit more than that. Run about 30. Okay. All right, let's see how this goes. We're going to put 1 drop in here. And AK paints, you don't have to thin them. You don't have to thin them through the 0.35, so you definitely don't have to thin them through the 0.5. Rose McIver was a yellow one. Rose McIver looks like we're watching some show. Oh, this is good. We're watching some show the other day with a wife, and Rose McIver reminds me of who's the freaking Cuban girl off of Reba? She's so freaking hot. Oh yeah, this is good. Das ist good. Joanna Garcia. She looks so much like Joanna Garcia. Okay, so I'm going to see and of course I'm still going to do my wash and stuff on it, but I need some kind of a base for it to stick to. Now this stuff's almost out. So I'm actually going to use that mid-war tone and see what it looks like on top of that. Now, I'm not going to clean this thing out. I think we could just drop one on top of the other. We should be okay. She looks like the actress who plays Starlight. Nah, she's better looking than Starlight. Yeah, Joanna Garcia's freaking hot. Shit. And not like, like over the top either. Just like, normal looking. She's from Tampa. We're claiming her. Because that's how it works, right? I thought it was cool that they had Sting rappel down from the rafters last Wednesday. As in, Sting as in Roxanne? My daughter went to go see him and Billy Joel last weekend. Somebody gave her tickets. I don't care to see Billy Joel, but Sting's badass. I'm a little too young for Billy Joel. So this is a color I actually did not have when I did the other Dunkelgelb colors. And I think it looks pretty good. All right. Joanna Garcia's hotter than a rose. Yeah, she looks better as a blonde though. That's funny because I'm not really into blondes, but. Vince McMahon utterly destroyed American pro wrestling with his bullcrap. Well, it was planned that way. It's all staged, remember? Okay, so we're going to start with the dark color. Let's get all that out. Okay, cool. That one girl wrestler they had on there was hot. The girl with the legs. The girl with the 4-foot-long legs. What's her name? Stacy Keibler or whatever? Yeah, but she has a beautiful face. So I don't really care if she was a wrestler. Okay, so we're going to do, these are Panzer IIIs for Kursk. So let's put a base coat on here. And we're going to try, Jesus, that's a lot. We're going to try to leave some black in places because we want it to get the free pin wash from it. Okay. Have I tried the Vallejo Dunkelgelb primer? I have not, because I prime in black. Dunkelgelb is really weird. There's a guy who posts on one of the 20mm forums. I want to say his name is Kevin Carr, and he nails it. The color he uses, that looks right. So I actually didn't know I had this other mid-war tone, so I'm probably going to use that as the mid-tone on here. But I'm just going to draw, still going to do the wash and stuff, and we're going to bring that up using that. But I really like AK paints. They don't dry brush really well though. They're really watery. They're really, really watery. How long have I been on here? Almost 2 hours? Hey. That's what we're here for, to get shit done. Used to know a Bob Dunkelgelb? Really? I got it in the gel brown, but they didn't seem to cover that well. Underhanded tactics. He didn't want to do all kinds of stunts. Like, he's like the owner or something like that, but like shit happens to him. Like they shave his head and crap like that. Like, come on, man. Freaking adolescent. I don't want to watch wrestling and see some guy his head shaved. I want to see freaking... Well, I don't want to see any of it because it's staged. Ah, son of a biscuit eater. You gotta be careful with this shit. It's all over the place. We're gonna do a wash on it anyways. Got this toned down as much as I can. Yeah, maybe I should switch to the 0.35. Robert Dunkelgelb. Everybody misspells his name except wargamers. They know exactly how to spell that bastard's name. Back when we used to use Floqual Poly S, used to be called Armor Dark Yellow. He's in serious shit for sex trafficking and abusing his position. Sex trafficking is bad. It's bad. We got enough sexy people in this country. We don't need to have even more of them. And then, you know, Nordic doesn't have a chance. I think I'm going to switch to the 0.35. Let's see what happens. Should be all the way over here. Bias lonesome. With the nozzle for it. This is the one that originally came with it. Lies and effing slander. Well, I mean, you know, if you want to do some modeling or stuff, you don't need more competition, man. That's what I was getting at. All right. Let's take this bitch apart. Everybody having a good night? Doing the... How's this airbrushing thing going? Does it work for you guys? I wish the lighting was a little bit better. But I don't want to do this shit alone. Freaking boring. Ah, I pulled it the wrong way. Damn me. All right, let's make sure we don't mix up the needles. Or swallow one of them. You like the raw lighting? At least your airbrush isn't loud. Is it the tank's not too bad? Yeah, it should. You should hear it even less now, because we just went down on pressure. All right. Let's see how this works. I still can't get over. You know somebody whose last name is Dunkelgelb? Oh, Jesus. Oh, well, it's open all the fucking way, dumbass. Moron! There we go. That's much better. There we go. That's what we want to see. Well, the nice thing is I'm able to use both of them. With AK Paint, you can use right out of here. You don't have to thin it or nothing. Oh, I ran out. Like, why is it not coming out? Oh, I don't have more paint. But the tank runs just like mine. The only way you'd have to force me to play games is if you wanted to play a social deduction game. Rick, you play all kinds of social games. Have you ever played Jackbox on either the PlayStation or Xbox? In your case, probably PlayStation. I freaking love those games. That's a game where, you know, it's a party game, but you get to use your phone as a controller. Sounds fine. I think some people overdo the compressors and they run way louder than they need it. I wish it was more silent, but what are you running, about 30 right now? Yeah. Sorry I'm keeping you awake, Ben, with the sound of the compressor. So what I like to do is, I like to put Dunkelgelb down as a base, and then wash it. And then after the wash is done, come in and dry brush it again, and then put do the wash, then put the camouflage on, and then dry brush over the camouflage. So that way it looks more subtle. It's worked for me in the past. So, what else we got here? This is let's do the Panzer III turret. We want to leave any of the little black recesses we can help it. So we want to get kind of far away from it. We want enough of this yellow that there's something for it to hold on to. Nintendo. I never liked Nintendo. GoldenEye. I remember when that came out. I had a girlfriend's little brother that would have that. There's a game somebody came out recently. Oh, you were talking about. I think it was you were talking about it, Ben. Maybe it wasn't you. Red Orchestra or something like that. I saw like advertised all. Maybe it wasn't Red Orchestra. It's not Red Orchestra. It's another game that they just saw advertised on Facebook, where you can play a Soviet soldier or something like that. And you look at the graphics and I'm like, yeah, these graphics would have been good in like 1998, you know? Like, I'm not playing 1998 graphic looking game. This looks like, would have gone with Quake or something, which I was never a fan of Quake. I like Doom, but not Quake. And time to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of gum. Not much of a video game. Ben, you play video games. You ever play Borderlands? That's some funny shit. That is some funny shit. We out? We're out. Nobody steals mushy snuggle bites but dunk-a-dunk and lives. Yeah, that girl's on crack rock. You like Borderlands 1? 2 was good, but I never finished it. 2 was the best one. 3 was good too. The story, just the storyline of 3 sucked. That's the problem with it was. But it's one of those, you pick a character, I play it through. I don't want to play it through with another character. It's a lot of the same stuff. Too many bullet sponges. So the order I played them in is I played 2 first, then I played pre-sequel, then I played 3, then I played 1. Yeah, and I have that. Oh, and then I played the new one that I haven't finished. But it kind of sucks. What's really good is the add-on that she did. There's a D&D add-on for, is it 2? I think it's 2, or pre-sequel. One of them has a, whatever her Dungeons and Dragons land is. That one's pretty good. But the Wonderlands isn't very good, unfortunately. And it isn't as funny. All right, you have any conundrum here. If you have a hard time picking a couple model kits, well, for starters, do 1/72, and then pick whatever you want out of that. You know what I was wanting to do the other day, but I didn't get one? I'm ready to do some aircraft. And I wanted to do an I-16. A Rata. I want to do an I-16. And they're not a very attractive plane, but... The world was on the brink of going boom, and we're all that stands in the way of that. You refuse to do 1/72 scale. Feel free to unsubscribe. Deviant. The one true scale. There's that one guy on the miniatures page many years ago. I don't know who the hell it was, but he got everybody all wound up because he said something along the lines of anything larger than 20 millimeter is playing with dollies. Oh, and everybody had a moo cow. I've never forgotten that. I wish I knew who to give the credit to. Anything larger than 20 millimeter is playing with dollies. So I used to do in the morning. I'd go on the miniatures page. I'd check my email. What the hell is that like? Hey, Maroon Cardinal. What a maroon. Welcome back. We're paying some Panthers that are spontaneously catch fire at Kursk. We're just getting the base coat on here because we're still going to do our traditional painting method. I'm going to do the camouflage and spray, but we're still going to do the old washy-washy. I may not be on first thing tomorrow morning. Warning. But I will be on tomorrow. Washy washy. Become president and play 1-to-1 in real time permadeath. Effort to sub. You know, I actually know this one guy. I got a friend of mine. Probably everybody has one of these people that they know that just puts their foot in their mouth every time they open their mouth. They're not like really stupid, but everything that they say just makes them seem like, are you really that dumb? And this guy, I told him about my channel, said, man, I really appreciate if you'd subscribe to me. He's like, well, I already have too many expenses. I can't afford to subscribe to anything else. I'm like, did you really say what came out of your mouth? Because that don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. Okay. Yeah, so if I try to brush this watery ass paint on top of black, I'll be here all month. Most people put their foots in their mouth. It's why we have such a high number of people who have foot fetish. Speaking of Mitch, so many people commented on my feet, I had to kind of wonder, you know? And there's nothing wrong with being into feet, but, you know, they got to be better looking than Mitch's feet, you know what I'm saying? There ain't nothing good looking enough on Mitch for me to switch sides. No, ain't gonna do it. What's the weirdest fetish you've heard of? Keep it PG. The furries is pretty high up there. That's weird. That's not weird. That's weird to hook up with somebody you don't know what they really look like. That's weird. Fuck it, let's have another one. Salud. This is good stuff. Rick, this is what you need to drink. Forget that Busch Light flavored peach lemonade crap you have. You're not sure if you can keep that family friendly. Well, don't keep it family friendly then. Be yourself. This stuff is really, really good. It's a gin-based alcoholic drink from Finland. You know, where all the cute cheerleaders come from. We actually had some Finnish cheerleaders that were staying at the same hotel that the convention was at. And, yeah. That's all I'm going to say. Come on. You can do it. Uh-oh. What's the meaning of this? Uh-oh. There we go. Oh, now it wants to jam? What happened? Is there not enough paint in there? There's a new armpit fetish. What's the old armpit fetish? With people going bananas over the armpit skin fold thing. I ain't learned enough to know the prop terms. Armpit skin fold thing. Well, the only thing I'm going to say about armpits is women having armpit hair is a design flaw. That is just, nope. Absolutely not. Deal breaker. That's a design flaw. That shit shouldn't be growing there. A new armpit fit. What's the old one? And disclaimer, if you happen to touch on something I'm into, I'm not going to own up to it. Armpit fetish. What's the old armpit fetish? Hair on women anywhere other than their head is a design flaw. Well, you know, I mean, I got a wife and a daughter, and sometimes, you know, it's time for them to shave their legs. This doesn't creep me out, you know what I mean? But the armpit, oh no. I'd rather smell their farts than look at their armpit hair. And I don't mean I'm into the... That's it, drink. Salute. Women shouldn't have armpit hair. Now, you know, if you want me to not be interested in you at all, well, I'm not interested in any of them right now. I'm not in the market for that, but yeah, armpit hair would be it. Yikes. You know, it's an easy thing to fix. Okay. Well, this is the way to do it. If you're going to airbrush stuff, let's knock some stuff out. There we go. Wish I could. They took that post down that I was talking about earlier. But the one guy was like apologizing for the fact that he was painting Germans. I'm like, you know, just paint other stuff too, you know? Nobody's going to say, you know, if you're painting different things, but you know, you could build aircraft and put swastikas on them as they had them. You don't have to apologize for it. That's what they had on them. I mean, I could think of better symbols than a swastika, but that's what they decided to go with, you know? Considering getting the new Takom 135th Tiger 1 late. I'm not a Tiger fan. I'm just not. That doesn't mean I hate them, but they're just not all that in a bag of chips. They are in late 42. You seen those really early Tiger ones that have the storage compartment behind the turret from a Panzer IV? Those are wacky looking. No, it usually doesn't work if you don't have any paint in there, Tony. Now, I'm actually going to leave the Su-76s as they are, because I'm going to hand paint those. And one of these days, I'll grow a pair and do a whitewash vehicle, but I'm not there yet. But I got some ideas. I think I might be able to pull it off and make it look good. Now there's some whitewash vehicles that even actual pictures of them just look unbelievably bad. So we wouldn't do those, but okay. And we're going to go ahead and put some mid-tone on here. Modulation. I don't like that word. I came up with an alternative name for it, but now I forgot what it was. Happens to old people. Did we paint the Vespa? No, we got other things to paint. I don't know why I thought it was done. I don't know, I'm having a blast. I'm glad, I hope you guys are enjoying it too. But I can't do this without having some kind of interaction with people. It's just freaking boring. Okay, the broom bar. Boom bar. Ryefield. I don't know, have you worked on everything you have? 'Cause that's how you get in trouble. That's how you get in trouble. All right. Here is a Panther turret. And here's the other Panther turret. All right, so we'll do them next. Get some splatter on there. Let's clean out this trap, the moisture trap. Not sure if that's what caused it. Probably not that noticeable considering the method I'm going to be using. You know what? It's this little tip. Here we go. I'm nowhere near. An expert on this, and probably never will be. And I'm perfectly comfortable with that. All right, let's take this thing apart. Well, we didn't have a jam for a long time, so I can't really complain. Whoops, too much weight on that end. .48 Heinkel. That's the 111. I think that's a good looking plane. A lot of people don't like ships. I don't know why. I think ships are cool. It's my first love. Always liked them. Ever since I had that. My dad had that coffee table book that just really spoke to me when I was a young adult. More like an old kid. I was an old kid. All right, let's... Let's run this through. Run it through! Where is the... Huh. Where's the bottle that we spray into? Fuck you, we'll create another one. Wow, this isn't working at all. It's like there's like no pressure. All right. More power. There it is, hiding back there. Just not in the mood to do a plane. I think the first plane I'm going to do is I'm going to do a Flying Tigers P40. It was the first model I built. And I think that's a good enough reason to go back to it. Except it won't be the snap type kit. I hate photo etch because of the glue I gotta use. I'm not a fan of super glue. Needle out through the front. Oh yeah, we got all kinds of stuff in there. That's probably where the problem is. Well, I didn't have to clean it that much. So, jamming as infrequently as it's happening ain't too bad. Let's get a pipe cleaner. Let's get an official Iwata-san pipe cleaner. Having the right tools makes things a hell of a lot easier. Makes things a hell of a lot easier. Tiger One late production. Do Firefly. There's already too many tigers in the world. Time for some Jesus juice. Hallelujah. All right. It's not that much of a problem. We're going to go up to like 40. Let's drop this a little bit. Okay. Now, where the F were we? Do you use ammo by MIG paints right? Do they go through the airbrush without thinner? Yes. Yep. They don't dry brush worth a shit. They're real watery. But what the? We can tone that shit down. It was like a hurricane. There we go. We're back in business. Easy fix. I guess one guy that I know, all he does is airbrushing enamels. I'm like, I don't do enamels. I believe in like damn near free thinner. Enamels is just something that I hated as a kid. There we go, that's what we needed to do. You know, it's like a pistol. The more you tear it apart, the better you get at putting it back together. For those of us that live in countries that we're allowed to have pistols. But just like a pistol, you can't have an airbrush that's a nightmare to put together and take apart because you'll just never want to clean it. And then it malfunctions, if that's the case. What's going on here? Oh, well, there's not any paint. Oh, there you go. Doesn't work real well when there's no paint. You don't get any overspray, though. What's this set to a little bit? And a lot of it is just trial and error. But I said, like, the biggest recommendation, get an airbrush that has a tank. And make sure that if you're having trouble with the .35 needle or whatever, get a bigger needle. That made all the difference in the world. It's like, I'm not like an idiot when it comes to painting stuff, and I'm kind of detail oriented. So I'm not, if I'm fighting this much with it, man, there's some people that are having some serious problems with it. But I'm pretty darn patient. Tony, if I wanted to brighten up olive drab dark base, what color would I mix into that? Well, I think I took, what I use Vallejo dark sand, which isn't very dark. It looks kind of, fine, not fall down there. It looks kind of like, almost like Dunkelgelb. And I want to say Sledgehammer Studios was, in Australia, was the one that gave me the idea for that. I think it was him. I could be wrong. I would have just, my logic would have been, oh, just add white to it. But, you know, that would have looked chalky. So I'll give him the credit, even though it wasn't his, even if it wasn't him. But yeah, I've been really happy with dark sand. I've been really happy with that. Okay. Base color, that's done. I'm not going to touch the Hetzer. We're going to do a later color with a Hetzer. Let's make sure that we went. Started going sideways with a Brumbar. And I really like this stuff because you can literally just add one drop or two or something like that. You found an ammo by MIG all drab modulation paint set with 4 colors in it. I think it's my favorite paint for airbrushing. You gotten pretty comfortable with your airbrush yet? I think that was the last color that we had. So let's go ahead and do the mid-war one. I'm not going to clean that out. We are going to close it though. Getting comfortable. Hold up one of the MIG paints if you wouldn't mind so I can see if I picked the right ones. Well, the Dunkelgelb has no color code on it. They got a little mixer in there. And honestly, I can't keep track between which ones are ammo, which ones are MIG, and which ones are AK. They're all like spin-offs of each other. And they last a long time. Seems like it anyways. Where's this mid-tone one? Dunkelgelb Mid-War. RAL 7028. Yeah, I can't keep track of who's what. But you know, Vallejo does that shit too, because they're like, oh, these are Panzer. First it was like they had their regular colors. Then they had Panzer colors. All right, cool. And then they have their alternative colors for Flames of War. Yep, just shoot it without thinner. And I'm running at about 30 PSI. And it's the 0.35. And really no issues. So I'm actually gonna hold this thing. Actually, it's probably a little too much. And a lot of people are like, you know, you gotta run this at this PSI, whatever. You gotta experiment and find out what works for you. What works with your airbrush and what you're comfortable with. Come on. There you go. So what we're going to do is we're going to wash this. And then when we go to dry brush, we'll dry brush the mid-tone. We won't even mess with the bottom layer. And I think it'll look pretty good. Okay. Compressor's not running too much for you guys? Not driving you batshit crazy? Problem with telling people to use this PSI, that PSI, is not all airbrushes and compressors are made the same way. Yes, and it may be something you're not comfortable with. You know, you just got to experiment, you know? You do you. Okay, so Stooky's done. Let's go ahead and do the boom bar. Boom bar. The problem with telling people to do something or the other is some people aren't very honest. You know, some people, when they don't know something, are like afraid to say, I don't know. Like, we don't all know everything, and everything's different. I mean, I can tell you communism is a bad fucking idea. Why did everyone go? I feel it's just Tony and me. Yep, it's our show, man. Just like old times, comrade. This is actually pretty nice. This mid-war tone is definitely needed. And it did not come with the original Dunkelgelb set. This is from one of the other ones that I have. It's still MIG. It's just not one of them. I have to show you a picture. All right, why don't we do that? Why don't I show you a picture? We can do that here. Because you're just not going to get the point across. Let's do that. You should be able to look at my phone well enough. I'm going to go ahead and show you the Panthers in the base color, and we've added one of these. Yeah. Getting some kickback from the brightness. I'm going to shut this down. It's not coming. It's not coming out. Now you can't see it. Is it better with this? Let's see. Is it better with... Nope. No. Sorry. Sorry about that. Anyhow, I'm getting better at it, which isn't really saying a whole lot. Yeah, I know. I can't. I'm no good at that. I can't be good at everything. So you see, you can't be in everything. I can't be good at everything. And I'm not going to use the airbrush to weather, to give it like a dusty look. Nah, we got our method down. I'm happy with how it turns out, and it kind of makes what I do unique. So, and then we'll do a wash on top of it. And then we'll come back and we'll dry brush on top of that. But I know you want to see some Panthers, man. Everybody likes Panthers. Everybody doesn't like Puma, but everybody may not like a Puma, but everybody likes Panthers. Right? Or you're a weirdo who doesn't like Panthers? Everybody likes Panthers. First tank I built, first 1/35th scale tank I built was a Panther. It's sexy looking. That's exactly what a wearaboo would say. Come on. We out? Yep. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing an aircraft. But if I buy any paints I'm specifically going to use to airbrush, I'm definitely going the AK route. Look how much time you save by not having to thin them. You know, and they're consistent. A little bit of variation in color there. See if you can see that. There you go. You can make out a little bit how I did the center in a lighter color. I mean, I'm real happy with how it's turning out. You know, you take something like, let's see if I can pull this off. Problem is, you just can't see what's... Let's see if you can tell the difference here. Yeah, this light is just... It's good for me, but not for you guys. There you go, it's pretty noticeable. And it looks a lot better up close. So... Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. The only thing I don't like about this airbrush is the throw on it is so different. It's so short. You basically go from like not enough's coming out, and you just move it like a millimeter, and it's too much. So it's like definitely need to be on the ball. We out? Yeah, it's a modulation paint set. Actually, this color is not one of the three. This color is more medium color than the other one. The other one would be much more lighter. But we're still going to apply a filter on here. I mean, it's going to look really good. It's going to look really, really good. So we'll do the wash. Then we'll come in with the rock brow and the green and go really, really, really light on it. And then we'll dry brush this color over that camo, and it makes it really blend in really well. All right, those are done. What's this? That one's done. Okay, move over here. Not this one. You're done. Okay. We got these three turrets. The turrets. The turretten. The turretten. It's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Not that stupid ass yellow color, which, you know, ends up getting toned down when you weather it and stuff. But whoa, too much. Where is... Oh, the end's been done? Okay, that one's done. That one's done. Panthers are... Panthers done. What else we got over here? Panther turrets. All right, man. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see progress of these Nazi bastards later this weekend. Aren't you kind of apologizing too? No, I'm not. I'm not apologizing for doing German shit. I'm just letting you know these are the bad guys. There's a post that somebody did. I want to say it was on an aircraft thing. And this guy, it was a picture of a Yak 9, right? I believe it was a Yak 9, Yak 3. I think it was a Yak 9. Anyways, it had a big camouflage paint scheme and a big old 22 on it. Really, really big on the tail section or the fuselage. Abaft the cockpit. And it was a picture of I think it was in color. I'm pretty sure it was in color. It was a nice, beautiful aircraft, and somebody's comment was, I can't look at those guys and now think that they're the bad guys to me. And I commented on it. I'm surprised I didn't get taken to task. I said, the Russians were always the fucking bad guys. You know, and the Germans were the bad guys too. You know, but to think that there was, you know, the Russians were, you know, oh, they're our allies. He made it. Stalin made a treaty with freaking Hitler. You know, I mean, the poor people of the Soviet Union and got stuck in the middle of it, but still. Russians were always a bad guy. That's why I like the Eastern Front so much. Which asshole do you want to play? You know? If you don't think that's always the case, then you're not paying attention. My dad used to tell me he could have served in the Second World War if he'd been born in the correct country. He said he never understood why the Western Allies made a treaty with Stalin. Like, Stalin had to fight. He had to fight the Germans whether he wanted to or not. I wouldn't have sent him shit. That's not bad. I mean, you guys can't see it, but it's going to be interesting what this looks like with the wash on it. Oh, we're low. Give me one more drop of it in here. 1, 2. 2 drops. I waste a hell of a lot more paint when I'm dry brushing this thing. Is that everybody? I think so. Well, we got the Hetzer. I'm going to punt on the Hetzer. I think I'm going to do a late war scheme on it, but I don't want to muddy the waters with that. So we're going to, Jesus, how did it get to be 10 o'clock? Okay, we're going to leave this alone. We'll do a wash next time that we're on. I may be on early in the morning, but then I got to cut off about 7. But this is a really productive paint session. 3 hours. Yeah, it takes some time to do this. Well, we're not done yet. We still got to clean the airbrush. Let me show you how not to clean the airbrush. We out of paint? All right, we're out of paint. Let's see. Let's run some Jesus juice in there. Let's get our container. Well, now we got a second one going on. Let's go ahead and we can use this one right here. So we primered a whole lot of vehicles black, and we added the Dunkelgelb base to 7 or 8 German vehicles. We haven't painted the, let's move this brush up to about 50 or so. We didn't do the Russian vehicles, because we're just going to dry brush that color. We're using Vallejo for that. That's relatively thick, so it shouldn't be a problem getting it to adhere to that. That's why you don't want to buy airbrush thinner. You're going through a lot of this just to clean this thing out. I'm just going to clean this thing out. And it's like a minimum of a very minimum of mess. Very minimum. You know, I've got one of these extendable tables that you use like your computer, your laptop, or whatever for the office that I commandeered from my wife. It sits out here, and I'm like, there's not any paint on it. First of all, I'm not spraying that way. I'm spraying this way, and there's so little amount of paint. You don't want to lose that. I pulled it out the wrong way. Oh well, shit happens. Hand sanitizer, man, good stuff. Let's see, this nozzle goes with this one. And this thing's clean. And then we will turn it off. And run all the air out of it. Or if you get impatient, just unscrew here. And I like to leave the parts out, you know, so you don't have some congestion that's glued itself done. But we've got quite a few things done to do the wash in the morning. Oh my God, I didn't do the Vespa. Well, I didn't do the Vespa. Oh well, shit happens. Did I do the Hummel? And it's not really a priority. Where did it go? Yeah, where did the Hummel go? Oh well, we got to leave something for next time. So, oh what? What's that all the way down here? Oh, it fell. Okay. Well, the Hummel doesn't have this lighter tone on it. We'll do the 2 self-propelled things later. Anyhow, I think it's pretty productive. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to wash these guys, and then we'll come in and do any camouflage that we're going to do on them, and then dry brush this same mid-tone over, which is always a challenge because it's pretty watery. But this stuff works great. We didn't have a single jam. We had, the needle got a little moisture in there and we had to clean it out one time, but honestly, I think it went pretty well. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, folks, as always. Hopefully you learned something. Maybe I showed you something what not to do. That's not my intent. I don't go with the intent of making mistakes. That's not, they're going to happen on their own. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Friday night. And we will do it again. We'll do it again. We'll do it in the middle of daytime. We'll have a little bit better light in here. We'll have light that'll come from this direction because I do have a large window behind there, so it works a little bit better. But as always, thanks for stopping by, folks. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It's very helpful to get